Alrighty. Welcome everyone joining our live stream. We will be getting started shortly. Can you hear me, Gary? Are we good? Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to our first coaches seminar for our 2015 FLL season. This has been a bit of a crazy setup here, but we are live on the internet right now, live streaming this to whoever's tuned in, and we're going to be monitoring that chat, and we'll see where that goes. But it also means that this will be recorded and put up online immediately afterwards as well. I have a couple I should introduce myself. My name is Michael Adam. I'm the director for Central Valley Robotics. You'll have to pardon me if I'm a bit slow today. Just been getting off the cold flu that's been going around everywhere. But we'll try our best to answer the questions here tonight. Again, reminding everybody that this meeting is live. And hopefully I'll either get it up tonight or later in the week so everyone can watch and recap what happened here. Just kind of wanted to give everyone an update on our current registration status in the region. We're at 136 teams in the area with 12 pending. That's up from the 102 we had last year. So we're definitely growing. It's exciting, and that's going to kind of alter how we're going to be doing registration a little bit with event sizes. Interesting enough, when you include all the pending teams, it's a 60% rookie rate. So 60% of our teams this year are new, which is very cool. Wanted to give an overview, a reminder to everyone regarding the forms requirements that are in place. This is copied right from our website. And I'm going to just recap it here. We do event registration through Team Connect, which is our local registration software, which means that you got to make sure your team's in there, you've got all your paperwork, and that's the software you will use come tomorrow night to register your team. The same two coaches you have cleared in TIMS need to also be appeared on your Team Connect roster. You have two that complete the screening process, and both need to be in the Team Connect roster. They also, for all coaches on the Team Connect roster, need a coach agreement. For every team must submit a team agreement. All team members must submit a consent and release form. This includes coaches, students, mentors, and you can do that one of two ways. Either do that through simply completing the consent release form, uploading it through Team Connect, or you can do this through FIRST and through STIMS. Either way is valid. Doesn't matter which one to us. We do pull all that information down and process it daily. You should have all students listed on your Team Connect roster, but you can still add more if you have kids that add after the tomorrow. It's fine. But one thing I did want to note, we had some questions about this earlier today. There's something called the Youth Team Member Registration Form that FIRST says is required, but I don't collect it. It's another form that is just, it's basically the paper version of STIMS. I don't need it. I just need the consent release form. So you can just, if you're doing the paper versions, you just need to submit the consent and release form to me. So let's talk about event registration, how that's going to look. So our expected qualifier capacities, the central, our November qualifiers the Visalia is going to be the biggest one. There's about 40 some odd teams in the South Valley, so that event will be at 48. Buchanan and Duncan and Central will be at 24. However, the North qualifier will be elevating to 36 teams at that event. Those are in order of the date, so that's November 7 for Central, November 14 for Visalia, November 21 for Duncan, December 5 for Buchanan, and December 12 for North. So that's expected what I'm going to set the capacities to. However, if I get 10 more teams tomorrow that decide to register through FIRST, then that I might elevate this even more. But that's kind of what we're looking at, and that's what you will see tomorrow. As a reminder, scrimmage registration is still open. As of when I made this presentation earlier today, the North scrimmage had one spot left. I'm not sure if it's still open anymore. The Buchanan one still is wide open. Starting October 1, you'll be able to register for both. So if you did want to attend both, you can. And that's kind of the summary of what I wanted to talk about regarding event registration and that type of stuff. And then I did just kind of want to give a brief reminder here that we do encourage coaches to volunteer at events to see the other side of the table. Some restrictions apply, like we can't have you volunteering necessarily at an event with teams from your school, that type of thing, conflict of interest stuff. But we do encourage it. A lot of our coaches who have judged and sat on the other side of the table have come away really getting a new perspective on how that process works. So that is what I had there. Are there any questions on anything but the table? We'll get to the table in a minute, but I wanted to take questions.
Just on the scrimmage coming up, is it going to be just the scrimmage, or are we going to is it going to be part of like the
So,
presentation, or just the scrimmage part, just the fill-out part?
if I remember correctly, let me bring up our website here. I did post on our cvrobotics.org website what that specific regional was. I'm going to repeat the question for the live stream. The question was, what is happening at the Buchanan scrimmage or the Clovis North scrimmage, either one in a couple weeks. Let me do this.
I can speak for the Clovis North one. They'll be doing actual competition, like mock running trials. Sorry, that did not come out as English. They'll be actually doing like a scrimmage of the actual game, and then they'll be doing project sessions too. So.
And then for the Buchanan scrimmage, which I have up here on the screen, I believe they will have robot game stuff and with programming and project sessions. That was what I was given, so I'm not entirely sure what that means. If you email us, I can forward this stuff along and we can help clarify what that means. I'm assuming practice project sessions, you can practice your project presentation to a panel of judges at the Buchanan scrimmage. And then Stephanie talked about the North scrimmage on the 31st.
About the project, so we're supposed to share it with the community in some way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to the competition, do the judges, how do we present to them that we share it somewhere?
So you would actually just work that into your presentation. So like as you were telling them about what you did, you should tell them, but if you don't tell them, the judges are trained that they should ask. That's like one of the things that they're supposed to dig deeper in with the kids. So they should ask about it if you don't cover it. But do like prep your kids to like just work it into the conversation. Like for example, if your thing was that you, I don't know, invented tacos, then you can go and say like, yes, and we went and met with the taco master of Taco Bell, and you know, you just work it into the conversation casually like that, and then you can go into further detail depending on what you did.
And the question there was, how do we present to the judges that we shared with the community?
Really less on the stems. If it says that they're complete on stems, but yet when we went to register and it says processing, how long is that process?
So the question is regarding how long does STEMS processing take on our side? So there was about like 25 teams that put in paperwork today. And so we have people that have to go through and manually match all that data. It's not an automatic process because of the way I get it from FIRST. So we're going to get through. If you see them accepted and complete on your end, then they should go through tonight when we go through all the stuff. Yeah. Any other questions on non-table things? Stephanie, you had a couple thoughts you wanted to remind people of, I think, if I recall from our discussion this morning.
I did. Oh, right, okay. I just want to remind everybody that when you're like tackling the project, be sure to pay attention to the project exceptions. So basically you can't do gas treatment, you can't do like water waste and anything relating to that. So make sure that you're not like letting your kids focus on that, because that will basically be a disqualification, because it's a very clearly stated exception. So just make it easier on us. We don't want to like tell your kids that they're not eligible because of that. So, pay attention to the rules. What was the other one? I forgot what the other one was.
I think it was something about going out into community sharing with local companies.
Oh, right. Okay, so like last year's project, for those of you who are second year coaches or even more older, past years coaches, more experienced coaches, there you go. Make sure that you're going out into the community and sharing your project. This can be like super simple as like if your school's having an assembly and you happen to share your FLL project during the assembly, that's a good way to do it. If you want to go out into the community, if you want to like talk to actual people who are in the industry and doing that, I mean, they're more than happy to work with you guys. I know like the public utilities are like, that would be a really good, corporation to hit up. So just make sure that you're utilizing your time and sharing and like asking questions from actual professionals within the industry. I'll stall so that Michael can continue to debrief the refs. Oh, I was stalling for the people at home. I was providing cheeky commentary.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Okay, well with that kind of, if there's no more questions on that, I guess we can dive into the robot game stuff. So, sure.
One is related to the registration.
Okay.
Some of our teams, is that only just release sign the form, and then there's another part applied to the team? Do both of them necessary?
For our purposes, I only look at the CNR, consent and release accepted column.
They don't remember to click apply to the team, that's okay.
As long as I see them attached to the team number and it says accepted, that's all I care about. I don't necessarily understand how that other team.
So if they don't apply to the team, the number or the name doesn't show up on the team roster, I cannot accept them. Some of the parents didn't, they just
Well, see, if you don't see them, I probably don't see them, which is.
even though I put them in the team connect roster.
So those two things are two separate tables of data, and if they don't come through first, I can't see them at all.
Basically, they have to apply to the team and I accept it.
If they apply to the team, I can see the application. But if they don't apply to the team, I probably can't see them.
If they don't apply to the team, they still can't sign the release. That's the
The paper version? Yeah, that's fine.
paper version, electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
Some of our team members did that. They forgot to apply to the team. They still signed click the sign the form, and then they got the automatic notify. They signed, and then I still don't have the team member on the roster.
Yeah, so the question was regarding STIMs and some of its, the way it works. I guess if team members don't fully accept so they accept the consent release form through STIMs, but they don't apply to the team or they don't finish that process, the coach doesn't see them. I'm not sure how that works on my end because I don't really have any visibility into STIMs at all, except for this little table I get of data that's in a very weird format. So I would assume that I see what you see. So if you don't see them, I probably don't see them.
My other question is about teamwork, because programming, only 2 or 3 kids can program. Can we, all of the kids participate in the research project, except after programming starts, can we divide, we have 8, divide them to 2 teams. One is doing programming, one is mainly focusing on research. Would that be still considered okay for teamwork?
The expectation is that all members participate in all parts of the program.
Yeah, they did participate, except they have focused.
So the expectation is that if a coach asks or a judge asks a kid, any one of the kids a question, they should be able to answer it if it's a general high-level question about their project or how their team works. If it's very apparent to the judges that they were siloed and like a couple kids only did programming, it's the only thing they did, that's not the experience we're trying to get to kids. It's expected that they all work together, they all contribute on each part.
Oh, yeah, they still contribute, except after they started the project, they focus on something
Yeah, they can have focuses. I mean, there can be experts on a team. That's normal for teams. I mean, you might have one kid who's really into programming, and so he's going to be, that's his focus, that's his specialty. And when it kind of comes to that, all the kids should be able to answer kind of general programming questions. But if there's a specific one of like, how did you program this sensor to do this thing? The kids can go, well, they can transfer the discussion to the kid who is the expert type of thing. You know, it can kind of float like that.
I just wanted to clarify this registration. So we registered through the Team Connect to get the manual version.
Correct. So the question is, do we need to worry about stims if we did all the manual paper stuff? You don't have to worry about stims, no. It's an option. You can either do it through stims or you can do it through the manual consent release form stuff. It's either way. It depends. First, would rather you do stims because they like tracking demographic information. But either option's fine with me.
Right now in Team Connect, we have all of them.
Mm-hmm.
My team is currently pending. Like you said, you had 12 pending ones. Our district, I've given them the option to buy the registration for like 4 or 5 weeks now, and I'm just waiting on them. How long are you gonna? Is it okay to wait? Like, what's the deadline where that has to be paid?
So the question is regarding, I guess, the start time for a team. So your team has not, you're still pending in the national system then?
We've been meeting and trying to work on little things the best we can, but we just don't. We have
It's unfortunate when district stuff like that gets in the way. So, I mean, we'll keep registration open for these events until mid-October. But, you know, if the next couple weeks or so, I would assume that the December events are going to close at capacity first. And so that would leave the November events. You know, I would expect them all to stay open relatively, but if you're starting to only going to be able to get your kits in the last week of October, you're starting to only get 4 weeks. The kids can still have an experience. It's just a matter of how much time they can put in and that type of thing.
We've been meeting as a team already for over a month, like working on things, but just we don't have like the actual stuff to focus towards the robot team. We have everything else. We're just behind on the paperwork and getting them board and things like that.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. That's
I just was wondering if like, because I keep bugging them, and I just feel like I'm annoying, but it's like, when are you guys going to get this so that we can have the kids have that experience?
yeah, I'm sorry. That's unfortunate to hear. Yeah, so I mean, there's not much I can do on my end. It's just a matter of
Yeah,
it's
no,
just,
I was just, if like 2-3 more weeks go by and they still haven't paid it, like when do I just say, all right, we can't really compete this year?
well, it takes about a week lead time to get the kits. Once everything's paid, and once you pay your national fee, then you are able to buy the kits, which then adds that week lead time once you actually purchase the kits. So, you know, it's as, you know, even if they start in the end of October and you get the end of November qualifier, you know, that's a month. You can do a reasonable amount in a month. It's half of what the expected season is of 8 weeks. But if it's the end of October and the only one's open is in the first week of November, you know, that's when things start getting, you know, that's 2 weeks maybe. It's not necessarily a whole lot. We've had teams that have operated like that in the past. You know, and there's that other side of the coin. You want to make sure the kids have a good experience and they don't feel like overwhelmed at an event because they didn't have enough time to do stuff. So it's that kind of, it's kind of a balance act of.
Well, also, like, you can just have, like, a really cake-bot project. Like, you can be doing project all up until you get your registration sorted out.
Just working on little things. So,
Well, I'm glad to hear you guys are working through it, and I'm sorry the district is being.
yeah, that's all right.
So, well, keep in touch with me through email about the status, and you know we can kind of figure out based on what events start closing and what's available, whether or not it's what's the best decision for you guys. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I'll just open it up to any questions at this point on anything. I will try my best to answer the robot game stuff, but we do have some experts in the back there that could probably help us too.
About table, right?
Yes.
Okay, on the, make sure. Okay, so on the, I think it's called the demolition one, where you have to knock the building down, and it's got the little thing with the valuables in it. Can we knock the entire building down with the valuables in it, or do you have to take the valuables out first, and then, like, so can we just knock it all down and get everything back to the base, or?
Because in saying you can't do that. I mean, if you knock it all down, it's your prerogative.
Right.
You know, the valuable could be buried. So we're not going to tell you how you're going to do it.
Right, we just wanted to know if okay, and then the other question is concerning that one, if we knock it down and say we get all the pieces to the building back into the home.
Okay, well, I'll just
We would need some clarification on
summarize what's happening.
the penalties and the points if we
If I remember correctly, the black negative. If they're outside of
Is it set up different ways?
always the same way.
So it's going to be set up like that? I thought in the picture it looks like the yellow bars, like they go in different directions on different levels.
If I remember correctly, these
Like that?
are the outside.
Right, but the yellow kid, like, see how they put that in the picture, it looks like silos, or it must be parallel to the side or more, and most of the
If
difference.
I remember correctly. No, it's always going to be parallel this way.
Perpendicular to the sidewalk?
Yes.
Okay.
They'll never be this way.
Okay. And both levels of yellow are going to be perpendicular to that.
I'm sorry, what was the second part?
Oh, it looks like in the picture in the online that like say the top level, the yellow is going, the top yellow ones are going the other way, but maybe they're purple. Right.
In the book, that's what it looks like.
It looks like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now remember, one of the instructions indicated that the pictures might be a little bit off,
Okay.
okay? It's going to be how the instruction is
Okay.
In terms of the setup, is how we're going to do it. Any other questions?
I've got one. It's on Rule D8 with respect to, you can't attach mission models to a robot. The rule says that if you combine a model with something, the combination must be loose enough that if asked to do so, you could pick up the model and nothing else would come with it. So my question on that, let's say theoretically you have a claw on the robot that's grabbing a mission model at start. Theoretically, if you were to release the claw, it would be loose enough to drop that item, but at start, it would have that tension on it. Would that be
Well,
or-
again, it is basically talking about the gravity rule. If we flip it or pick it up and it's supposed to fall, it should fall. If it doesn't, then
Well, they kind of did away with the gravity rule this year, though.
but basically that's what it's saying.
Well, it says if it must be loose enough to where if asked to do so, you could pick up the model.
I'm sorry, which one is that?
D8.
What page? I apologize, I haven't read this thing since we did the first. Oh, okay, here we go. Model.
What page are we on?
Sorry, I got the apple, but it doesn't fit.
Yeah, I see it right here. If you combine a model with something, the combination must be loose enough that if asked to do so, which we will, you could pick up the model up and nothing else would come with it. So pick it up, nothing else would come with it. Okay, I apologize earlier, when you pick it up and drop it. Okay, and pick it up. It's just good. Okay, go ahead. Any other questions on the table?
Okay, so the sorter has a plastic bag that blocks the sorter in the video.
The plastic bag?
Yeah, this one. No,
Oh, this one?
that blocks the
Yes, this
sorter.
one.
So in the video, it explained that if you push the little guy into that area, then you can manually unlock that. Is that correct? Or
Push it in?
Or take the
No, if you pull it out, then you can,
Right, but can you actually physically with your hand then pull it out if you push the little Lego guy into the sorting area?
you can touch the model, but you can't.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that too.
The only way to do that is if you bring in a I'm sorry.
No, that's what I'm asking. If you put the guy in there,
Yeah, put the guy in here.
can you then, reach over and unblock?
This?
Yeah.
No.
No, okay.
The video does that,
Yeah.
but the instruction says you can't do
Okay.
that. Again, that's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
The video might show something, but the instruction, that's actually in the update.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, if you weren't at when we did the
Kickoff.
the kickoff, make sure you follow the updates. Because that will clarify any issues that we're not sure of, any issues that what you guys might not be aware of, or anything that happens out there in the U.S. and the world, and he'll clarify. Okay. But make sure you always have the most current update before you go to your tournament, because that will be what we will use as of that moment for that day.
Okay.
I have a question again about the sorter. I know the update clarified the touch rule on that with the guy on it. It said you can use it to unclog the chute.
Yes.
If it sorts the pieces in the wrong bin, are they allowed to fix them?
That's allowed.
It's allowed? Okay.
Is that means the guys in it, the Lego guys in it?
So long as you delivered one of the people in the area, then you can touch.
So to unclog and
Unclog it.
to re-sort them if they does it wrong.
have a question about the machine. Do you have to take it and drop it into the truck or the factory before you can move the truck or do anything with the factory?
This right here?
Yes.
No, I mean, if you don't want to put the methane into the truck or the factory, you don't have to do it.
Okay, I can still move the truck.
Yeah, I mean, some people will not bother with the methane. They'll just do whatever they program their robot
I
to
was
do.
just wondering if that's a prerequisite.
Oh, no. If it doesn't say it's a prerequisite, that's it. Okay. There is no order how you do it. There is whatever the instruction says that we're supposed to do, that's how we're supposed to do it. Any other questions?
I was just gonna ask, we've been having problems with the composter where you push the lever and it starts going and it goes for like,
I don't know how to set it up.
it goes for like 3 pendulums and then it just stops. Is anybody else having that problem?
So it's not resetting it, it's probably how
Well, it
you
just
built
doesn't
it.
keep going, so it just kind of stops and so then it doesn't keep.
You kind of have to just make sure it's like tight enough. Ours
Okay,
is
so
like
just
loose,
leave it
and then you make sure it's like tight, like the Lego pieces are tight, because we've had that problem.
I don't know how.
Okay. It's like when you.
We show up, all the models are already built.
Sometimes like the little gears inside kind of just like they are like a little bit too tensioned. You might want to just like mess with the settings on that and like just try to like fiddle with it to see if it'll run, or like even if it's super severe, take it apart and rebuild it, because sometimes like if it was built really hastily or like if it's been used a lot and like transported a lot, things get really off.
Okay.
So I would recommend that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We all good? Yes, sir.
It's easy to see the robot at the table. We all know what's expected there, but it's hard to sort of gauge how your teams are doing in the other areas. You know, with the explaining the robot, that's not too bad, but the project, the skid, those sort of things, how they're judged. Because they're worth so many points compared to the table's only worth a small portion of the overall competition. I'm just wondering, is there...
That would be a Michael or Thomas, Stephanie question.
So for judging, okay, the best way that I could say to like prepare your kids is have them practice it over and over and over again. And I know like this doesn't sound like super helpful, but I promise you it is. Especially for like the project, what I usually recommend to like most teams that like ask me is don't make them memorize a script, because then if they forget the script, you can see it on their face, they get like all flustered, you know, it's just not fun. Have them write out like a list of goals of what they need to say, and then have them like organically come up with what they say and just practice saying it over and over again. So just be like, you have to tell me about this, this, and this. Okay, go. And then whatever comes out is what comes out. And then at the end, be like, okay, did you cover this, this, and this? And if they did, great. And if they didn't, have them do it again. As far as like how to gauge where they are, if they can explain it to you and you can understand what they're trying to get across, that's good. But it's not really helpful because you know what they're trying to get across. So have like one of the other parents stay by, and I do this with my FRC team still. Have like any of the parents who are not directly like involved, like maybe their kid comes and they just drop them off and bring snacks, but they're not like super involved. Whenever they come and pick up their kids, have the whole team run through their presentation, and then have that person iterate back, okay, what did we cover? What did we just tell you? And if it's exactly what you wanted them to learn, then great, you're on par. And if not, then you need a little work. So that's how I would do it.
Any other questions?
I was just gonna comment back to that, I know the robot game score points seem like not the biggest percentage of the overall score, but the district or the qualifiers, it's important that you get enough points that you're in, you know, I don't know, for advancement, you have to get, you know, I don't know, because at 24 teams, if, you know, 18 go to the championship, right?
Yeah, so to kind of clarify what there's two kind of, there's a bunch of cutoff points in the rules depending on which award you're looking at, but for advancement specifically, if there's 40% advancing from the qualifier, then it might be, just kind of shooting a number out here, you have to be in the top 80% of teams to be eligible to be part of that 40% that advance. So there's a bunch of kind of cutoffs there. There's on the website there'll be a robot game ranking cutoff, and we'll confirm that the morning of during the coaches meeting, where we'll say you have to be above rank whatever to be eligible to be considered for advancement. And then from those that are eligible, then we determine that who advanced. For champions, you have to be in the top 40%. That's a set rule. So yeah, I think that kind of clarifies it.
Can I ask how many teams are there in total?
There's a scary amount of teams.
Stephanie's laughing because there's quite a bit of teams. You're currently sitting at 136 registered in the Valley, with 12 pending. Could have more, could have less. We're not sure. The region is still kind of open, and we'll be evaluating where things go through October. But it's more than we've ever had before, so that's good.
About the mentors. Last year we tried to get one, couldn't get one. This year we're trying to get one, still can't.
So the mentor thing is very interesting. We have a system in place where we have made the requests available to anyone who can provide mentors, and even we haven't heard anything back. So we keep trying to push it, and we'll hope that something happens. But
So you're saying just come on campus and find one that looks like a robot.
You know, they're really fond of pizza.
Okay,
You can bribe them.
I can do bribe. That's fine.
yeah, so
Where do they hang out?
I'll give you 2 guesses. Robotics room?
so we're going to keep pushing it. I have Callie, you emailed me, probably got a response from Callie. She's been pushing the high school teams to get on board to help with mentorship and stuff. So hopefully we'll have more soon, but you see as much as we see right now. It's unfortunate.
Can the mentor be an adult?
Yeah, mentor can be any age. No. A mentor can be of any age. It's just we have a process to help connect FLL teams to high school teams in theory. It's just not necessarily been all that productive. But a mentor can be of, I think, age 13 or greater, I guess.
What's your target number of teams for championship?
We'll be having 60 teams at the championship this year, same as last year. And so the advancement percentage will determine, will be based off the number of registered teams. We're not entirely sure how many teams out of the 136 will actually register and participate. It always varies. There's usually some dropouts, but based on the actual number that participate will determine the advancement rate.
Is it going to be the exact same game and everything?
Correct. All the events this year will use the same field, the same rules. There might be changes based on the challenge updates that first puts out that alter the rules every now and then, but it will be the same at all the events.
Or at even the championship?
Correct. Same event. Same board, same. You just get a little bit more time to build a robot. Any other questions, thoughts from anybody here? Well, we have about 15 minutes left. We could end early, but I do want to open it. I don't think we've gotten anything on the questions on the live stream. I do have it open here. And I didn't see any questions on the RSVP form either. So just want to remind everybody to make sure to get their forms in soon. I know I was actually getting messages from one of the reviewers. She was going through stuff as this meeting was progressing. So hopefully we'll be making progress and hopefully get everything cleared out tonight for tomorrow. And then we'll be going through, as forms get submitted tomorrow, we'll push them through.
I'm also totally not part of CVR in any way, shape, or form, but there are FRC teams that are having some resources available. I know Buchanan is doing an online question answering thing, and I know Clovis North is doing workshops, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, so Buchanan's doing two things. On their website, which is in our email blast today, we have all three that she's mentioned are in that email blast. Clovis North is workshops. I think the next one is in October.
Yeah, it's like Wednesday or something.
Okay.
Or Saturday.
And then Buchanan actually is doing a fun little event where they have their high school kids try to build an FLL robot and compete in 2 weeks. So their actual culminating event is this Saturday at the Energy Academy. I'm not sure which time it is just yet, but you can watch the high school teams act like FLL kids and build the robot and compete. So that'll be here at the Energy Academy on Saturday. Once I know the time, I'll blast it out, but at the same time, right now, I don't know the time.
Yeah, that'll be a good thing if like you guys are stuck on how to do a specific mission or whatnot. Yes, Tom?
The next FLL workshop for North is October 10th at 2:30 p.m. at Clovis North.
Right, and the workshops at North actually like go into answer questions. It's like open to the whole teams, and you just bring whatever you want to work on, and there's like a whole bunch of high school kids that you can pick their minds for stuff. The attendance fee for that is 10 items of canned food. So like if you have 10 kids, everybody bring a can. So those are two really great resources I really recommend you guys take advantage of.
And then there's the third one, which is Buchanan's online Q&A form thing.
Right.
They're calling it
Flock.
FLLOC, First Lego Leaguers Overcoming Challenges. But it's basically a way that kids can submit design questions. They're not answering rule questions, they're answering design questions regarding how to build a robot to do X. And you can submit your question to them, and they will post it publicly. The answers are public, that they will, when they respond, it is public. So that's one caveat, but could get help from a team that won world champs last year for the high school program, at least. So, yes.
Sorry, but our board is made out of 2x4s instead of 2x3s.
That's fine.
That shouldn't be a problem.
There is nothing. Well,
as long as you build them
game
differently.
tables will be to the 2x3 specs that were changed, but a 2x4 table will still effectively work the same, and it's not going to change the way that your robot prepare for the competitions.
Except for the shared.
Well, that won't be the same height from the floor, the mat.
Right.
Because if you just elevate the walls, this just goes up to be resting on the top of it, right? This will still be the same elevated height from the mat. So the only thing that will change is if you have anything that's running along the top of the border wall as a guide, which is why we just recommend that you use the inner side of the wall. As Thomas said, the championship tables will be 2x3, but qualifier ones can go either way depending on the tournament partners and such.
Yes. For what it's worth, we've been promised there will be no more games that involve that are dependent on wall height dimensions.
Although they also said that the penalty points would be the same.
Yeah,
so
that's why I said for what it's worth.
take it with a grain of salt.
First likes ideas and come up with new ideas. Is there any other questions, thoughts? We have about 10 minutes left.
Probably just one technical question. I I've been trying to put that sorter together like 3 or 4 different ways, and I gotta be honest, I mean, it's turned really tight for us. And I've changed the gears, and I've tried to help them, we're just at the point where, I don't know if anybody, other teams are having that problem, but it's just a real.
We did it first, like the gray parts that go out are going like,
Like we
and we noticed here's where obstacles, we fixed that.
I tried to, what you were saying, to straighten those pieces out, and then straighten it, but it seems like it's just very, and so I can't, it's at the point where we can't do a mission because it's just so, or even,
I mean,
I don't know if anybody else is having that issue, but that's just.
the only thing I would recommend is just ensuring that, all the pieces are together. There's nothing that's like slightly askew, that all the pieces are right. That if you have one of those Technics pieces and you're supposed to be, you have the locking connector in one, and you're supposed to have 4 spaces and then 5. If you miss that, you're either in 6 or 4, that could create tension in the system. It could still build, come together, it could still be built that way, but it could create tension in the system that then causes a bunch of friction and causes that to spin very well. I mean, that's my only real recommendation. I know I want to put up some like actual high-def photography of the ignition models. First has some, I don't know if I can publish it as first, but that might be helpful as well. But for now, my only recommendation is just to, I mean, you can come up and maybe take a look at this one and see if you can, it's a complicated model, not much to be able to eyeball and figure out, but might be able to do something. Any other questions? Sure, I can do that. So, Gary, can you unblind the projector? Thank you. So, okay. Sort of think that out. So the way it works here, let me just. Okay, so I just have a generic test team here, one of my test accounts. So, first step is to add your roster. And so I'm just going to add, let's add Thomas. He was born in 2013 on September 18th. This is his first year.
You're young.
He's a team member. And then I'm going to add my other coach, Stephanie.
No, I don't want to coach him.
All right, Stephanie. All right.
Squeegee.
Fine. You'll be another student. You'll be a colleague of his. First year as well. Now let's go add Gary. Pick a date right about there. And he's been doing this for a while, and he's a fellow coach. So if you're here now, I've added the roster. It's let me see if I can make this be a little bit better for you guys to see it. That's better. And so by default, the initial status for members is waiting for more forms. You can click edit to edit members as needed. For members that are attached to user accounts, so like me right here, my Michael Adam one, I can only change between a coach and site coordinator, and I can't remove this user since it's attached, or members since it's attached to a user. But on the upload forms page, Team Connect tells you everything it needs on this one page. So every single line here is a form requirement that needs to be met. So the team agreement up here at the top is its own form requirement. The coach agreement's right here, so every coach has a coach agreement that needs to be uploaded. And then every team member has a consent release form requirement. Now, if we,
Ours says pending form processing.
yes,
What does that mean? You have to like?
yeah, we have to go through it.
Okay, and what if it says waiting for online form results?
That probably means that the reviewer looked at it, but I did not pull, she's missing today's STEMS report, and so she doesn't have the ability to connect next to it.
But on their stems, it says everything's complete.
Well, see, that's the thing, is I have to pull it and upload it to here. She can't access it directly because of first rules. So there's a,
Because those are the two comments that we have on ours
Okay.
that are preventing us from being good, so otherwise we should.
I mean, I can check that after here. After, I don't necessarily want to put a real ton of information on the
No,
screen.
go ahead.
But to kind of finish up here, you know, if like, since, let's say Gary was my second screen coach, YPP, the second screen coach on Tim's, it means he completed the online requirements, which they completed STEMS. Let's say Stephanie and Thomas did STEMS as well. You just hit upload. It will process all that. Now it's all marked. Now it's waiting for online form results automatically. Oh, so that's why it does that, because it hasn't been checked yet. That's probably what that is. I apologize. But like for me, if it says learn more here, it means that the only way to edit user forms is actually account settings. So the team member that's attached to my user account can only be edited from account settings up here. That's because of the technical limitation in there.
I have one question. We had a team member, she was the coach last year, and then I do not have the permission to change her status. It says, it pops up a small window that says you do not have permission, and you have to ask her to change something.
Is this in Team Connect or Teams? Is it this one?
I think it's the other one.
Okay, if it's the other one, they have to contact the coach for that. I don't have any control of what happens in Tim's. So if you go, if it's this one, if it looks like this,
Yeah, I guess it's.
this is the national registration system, and I don't have any way of really insight into it. This is the one that's run by First National.
I can only assign her to site coordinator. I cannot change her to.
Or you do something like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I cannot change this.
So it's because she's attached to a user account, and my assumption that managers are either managers or like players, not necessarily student team members. If you can email me and I can talk about removing her from the roster if that's what you're interested in, or doing something like that. We can talk to you about what to do next. We are almost at 7 o'clock. Any others? So I might as well talk about current registration here a little bit. Clovis North scrimmage is closed.
Yay!
So when,
Is that the one on Halloween?
yes.
Yeah,
Halloween, okay.
it's gonna be fun. Everybody's gonna dress up. Okay, sorry, I'm too
So
excited.
just as a reminder, whenever registration opens, as in this testing, I don't have my forms since this button doesn't exist, but the scrimmages don't require forms. So when you click this, you click, oh, I just clicked registration. Whoops. It didn't pop up the window like it was supposed to, because there was only one team left, one event left, and I'm smart. Yeah, my own software smarts me. Interesting. Okay, so it's going to pop up on the window, and that window is going to give you a choice of 3 options. You're going to pick your order, your preferences for your event. So it's a kind of a load balancing mechanism. If I get 50 teams that submit a request for one event in the same amount of time, I've got to be able to queue them. So that's what that does. It creates a queue. And by the time that it gets around to processing your event, your first choice is already taken. It will automatically register you for your second choice, and so forth for the third choice. I've tested this on a mobile device. You should be able to do it on a mobile device. If you're on a computer, you've had someone encounter this last year. If you're trying to scroll, be careful you don't have the mouse cursor over the drop-down menu. That will cause it to cycle, change your selected option. And someone last year gets the event that she didn't register for because she scrolled through the options and randomly picked one.
So after we register it, we won't know right away.
So you'll see what I saw there, you won't see it anymore, but you'll see that screen that says pending and processing, and then shortly after that, you'll see this window. I just moved away from it, but when you come back to it, it'll show you that it'll say complete or it'll say error, depending on what happens. You should rarely see an error in this case, especially with our reader.
So it'd be within minutes.
Yeah. It should be within minutes. It should be within at least a minute. And then you can also now view the receipt at any time. That's one of the new things I added this year. Any other questions on this? Do you have any questions regarding Team Connect form stuff? Feel free to shoot us an email at contact@cvrobotics.org. That does go to everybody. We can hopefully resolve any questions as soon as possible. Any other final thoughts? We're almost at 7 o'clock. Okay. Well, thank you all for attending tonight. Thank you for those who attended us on the live stream. It's an interesting experiment. I hope this was useful tonight. Have a good night and hopefully a wonderful rest of the season. I hope tomorrow night goes well too. Thank you.
Turn it off or leave it on?
30 seconds.
Off.